When you think about how a classroom is set up, they're set up with desks, and children sit in desks. And the movement aspect of it is not only the one thing that's left out, but it's the one thing we ask children not to do. And it's one thing that we leave out of the educational system. The case in point, when we learn something new, we have got to move through it. Using the senses and movement, first of all, is just absolutely natural. When the child's born, the baby is in constant movement as information is coming through the skin, the tactile, the ears, the eyes, the mouth, just even forming the sounds with the tongue. They're pulling in from all their senses, all the information from the world. One of the things that I notice in education is that the vast majority of teachers in early education especially are females. Females do not always understand a little boy's necessity to move. They cannot walk across a room without arms and legs being everywhere. They just have to do these big, gigantic movements. So now put them at a desk and ask them to sit still. Not only is it not fair, but they're actually impeding the child's brains. A lot of things are changing in education because people more and more are realizing how important it is. But the other aspect of it is I can't just write it. I literally have to get up and develop muscle memory with it. If a child were making mistakes, whether it was in their reading processes or the mathematic processes or they couldn't remember something, that you had to find out why, and you had to find out the system that they had. If I have a big concept that I have to teach, I have to break it down into its smallest parts because I've got to make every one of those parts understandable. So you have to make sure that before we move on to a new concept or new skill, the child masters the skill. A child may be very strong auditorily but very weak visually, or vice versa. If they were to connect all the different academic subjects, children would have a much vital understanding because they would see how it all fits together. When you're connecting, all of a sudden the children are getting this wonderful feeling of harmony and unity where everything's matching. It's like a puzzle being all put together, and now it makes sense. When I was young, I didn't choose to become a teacher. I kept saying, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a politician. Those are things that I was gravitating towards. The first thing I did was I went back to education and special education. I wanted to be able to make a difference. I wanted to change and help children, and I'll tell you, it's the best thing that I ever did. Every time I go and I sit with children or I'm with children, I just have that sense of joy. And there is nothing more amazing than watching a child develop language, watching a child discover the world. It's been an incredibly satisfying career.